we have hated communism so bad that we have wanted to find and jail people who were communists, and they get severely ridiculed and persecuted. And they even made a law, or they even have policies to keep communists from being in our government, because we're like, we don't want communists. That's what, But there is a bill in California that if it passes, it hasn't yet, but if it passes, it will allow communists, people who are communists, to be in government in California. So that just shows how, if that even being attempted is showing how times have started to change. And California, being a left-wing state, is going to be more prone to accepting communism than, say, Texas, a right-wing state, because communism is more closely aligned with the left, just like fascism is more closely aligned with the right. So that's for today in the news. So who did not finish the timeline yesterday? Timeline of World War II events we did on the computer.
You yelled at me.
Isn't that every day? Just kidding. Who did not finish it? Okay. Or rather this, who did finish it? Who was like, yeah, I finished it, it's done. Okay, so about half of you guys. Okay, so, okay, I'm hoping, what I'm gonna do is we're gonna watch a video today. Those who are not done could be finishing that if they want, if they still need to during that video clip that we're gonna be watching. Okay, but that's not right now. So first, what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about causes of the war. So the causes of the war are similar to World War I.
Treaty of Versailles.
The what?
Treaty of Versailles.
Versailles. That's what threw me off. What are you talking about?
Got the treaty.
That was definitely one. So we're going to use this to take notes. It's a little web.
If California is communist, does that mean
They're not communist?
Disneyland is no longer owned by someone? It's our Disneyland.
Okay, so what you're going to do on this.
We share everything with California. That's their product.
What are you gonna do with this? Okay, for each of the things I'm gonna tell you guys about, Brett and Tyler, you guys are gonna write that concept in the bubble, and then you're also going to do, like, you guys have seen bubbles like this, right? The web concept maps. You're gonna I'm gonna have you guys write 2 additional key points, or basically explanations of those topics. So lots of things helped cause World War II, right? So you're basically going to be branching off with 2 things off of each bubble. Okay?
Mr. Fuji.
All right. So that's what you guys.
Sorry, not Fuji.
Sounds like Fuji. Sounds like fettuccine.
So, Mussolini, I mean.
All right. First one. And I don't care what bubble you write it in. Okay? Just whatever bubble you choose. All right, first major cause of World War II is what Tyler mentioned earlier, the Treaty of Versailles. So, no, I want it back on.
Treaty. I can't even see on the ground.
If you don't know how to write it, don't worry, I will.
Don't write on brown. You can't see it.
Yeah, so pretty dark. I need to change that color. But just write it near it.
You could have made it pink. Or you could have made it white. Like everything else is white.
That's how you spell Versailles. So if you don't know how to spell Versailles, that's how you spell it. This was the treaty that ended World War I. We've talked about this before. What do you guys remember from the Treaty of Versailles?
It was basically America's fault and
the
Allies' fault. They're like, hey, you Germans are bad. You guys are horrible monsters that did all this. Pay all this money. Don't have that much people in the military. And then they went pretty much bankrupt. Well, because the Great Depression too.
Yes. So basically, we've talked about this, so hopefully it should be a review for you guys. This Treaty of Versailles it put blame on Germany, right? Saying it's your guys' fault that we had World War I, so you gotta pay for it. Not only do you have to pay lots of money to all these other countries who you kind of destroyed, but also you are not allowed, the D thing that you're thinking about, disarmament, which means you have to reduce the size of your military, so you can't be a big problem in another future war. Foreshadowing.
Because they did not, like, they got their military, they pulled out of, what's that area next to France? Is it France?
Are you talking about?
Yeah, the right land.
They
had to back out, right?
Yeah, they had to leave, the Rhineland, which is an area right here in between. So they had certain things like you can't have land here, you basically lose your land, pay some money. You can't have military, your economy is gonna be hit hard because you gotta do all this stuff, plus the Great Depression happened, right?
And they printed more money. Can't print money.
You can't, it just increases inflation. So this Treaty of Versailles, it failed because the whole purpose of this treaty was to be like, okay, we don't want to have another war. We want to stop this war from these issues from continuing. Those issues were never solved with the Treaty of Versailles. So that's why the Treaty of Versailles is part of the causes of World War II. World War I, basically, the end result of World War I, basically caused World War II to happen. Do you need more lead? Oh, wait. So that's the Treaty of Versailles. So you're writing 2 points next to it. Write 2 points. Two things about the Treaty of Versailles. So one thing, I'm going to help you with this one, but I want you guys to come up with your own other ones. So you can do blamed Germany.
The cause of depression.
Right, yeah, it basically caused lack of money, so there's no money, and caused them to go, decline, their status to decline, which allowed us a place for Hitler to come and rise, because they were in such a tragic, dire state.
It took me a while to get there.
Yeah, well, he rose to power in the 30s, so it took.
Yeah. They didn't try to do what he did, where he just marched over to people, they gave him power, but Hitler a little.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was a little bit different with Hitler. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, next one, I'm gonna write this first.
Alex,
is.
Need your opinion. So California is becoming communist?
No, they're not for sure. Don't get ahead of yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, so socialism and communism are not the same.
Yes, so if we go to California, it's our California. We share, no one, we're communists now.
Well, technically it's supposed to be our United States, since it's of the state for the people.
Well,
So
doesn't say that in the news.
technically, United States, going by your terminology.
So Alex,
going
is
by
this
your
including,
definition, the whole United States
is this
communist.
the last week and the week before? Because I worked both those Fridays.
Today is the 25th, so this is this week and last week.
Okay, so last paycheck, I didn't get paid for that Friday I worked. And it's not on this one, so I have 2 Fridays that I have yet to be paid.
I
don't know.
don't know how to do that.
Okay, yeah, let her know for me, please, and then I can.
So are you trying to have a serious conversation about socialism? or
He
you
just wants to
Oh, no, 'cause,
do what ifs.
California is deciding if they want communism or
There's a bill that if it passes, communists will be allowed to be in government in California, if it passes.
See?
Doesn't mean they're gonna turn communist because they can't go against the US
It's
Constitution,
just
the
allowing
US.
the Communist Party to participate.
Yes.
Yeah, so bro, we can now go to Disneyland and feel like it's our.
All right, so rise of fascism in Italy. What that is Mussolini
Mussolini.
in Italy. He is a fascist. What is a fascist? That's one of our vocab terms from yesterday.
He's a good guy. Just kidding.
What is the most important thing to fascists?
He's owner. Owner? No.
Not really owner, but like who has the power?
Yeah.
The government has the power in
No.
fascism. and they want strong unity. Fascists, like the FAS.
Fascismo.
Fascia, there we go. Fascia is the root word of that, and what it means is, what did I put? It was unity.
Of all Italian people.
Oh, strength through unity. That's what fascia means. Strength through unity. So fascism is promoting that we can be strong if we're united. And that's an important thing because not only is fascism in Italy happening, but it's also happening in Japan and in Germany. Okay? It happens in Italy first though. Because they said the only way that we can protect ourselves and be good in a future war is if we're united. Okay? So that is a big thing. So being united to prepare for war, future war. You're having two little things that you're drawing and writing. So you guys I'm helping you out for the first couple, but I want you guys to come up with your own for the rest of them. So basically, what are the key points of each of these main causes, right?
Ownership.
So this rise of fascism also.
That's my thing. We put our own. No copying. This is copies.
Also has
That's our word.
a rise of nationalism.
We're capitalists. We share.
Who remembers what nationalism is?
Nationalism, pride in your patriotic.
What was that?
Pride in your country.
Yeah, like this devoted love, pride in your country, so much so, right? It's more than patriotism, but it's like extremist patriotism,
It's like
where
it's like saying we're better than.
exactly. We're gonna be united, we're gonna be tough, we're gonna beat everybody, even if it means we have to, not do some nice things to other people, but we're gonna be strong and we're gonna be the best. Okay, that was kind of like the mindset. So going into, looking at this interwar period between the two world wars, that's not a very good mindset to have. This is a mindset that, like I mentioned yesterday, it has led to wars, this nationalist thinking. Okay, next one is Japanese expansion.
Oh, good old Japanese. Do you think North Korea
Off
hates
topic.
Japanese people since they annexed a lot of Asian countries? Yeah. I feel like they hate.
So Japanese, they want to expand their land,
They want
right?
resources.
So this all starts when they come over and they invade Manchuria, China, and they start spreading out over here and they start invading other countries. So that's something you can write for one of your two breakaway things is they start invading other countries, right? You got two things.
Resources. That's why they did it.
Yes.
Resources. They don't have resources on their own land.
Yes. Resources we talked about imperialism in world history. We've talked about that for US history as well. When you want to create an empire, you need the resources. Okay, you need stuff to build. If your country has no more stuff to build, you have to expand. That's why Rome was expanding. They were expanding because they wanted resources too. So expanding for resources, and they invade other countries. China was the first one that they invaded, but they also invaded other parts as well. This in Indonesia area and in the Philippines, they started expanding into those areas as well.
Australia.
I
thought they got near like the border.
I think that they were close because they had like all this area right here. During the war, they had expanded that far. So that's Japanese expansion. Next one is economic depression.
Oh, good old depression.
And we've already touched on this before. Economic depression.
Depression always is the.
Stacy, what do you think the economic depression is talking about?
Sounds like money to me.
Okay, money, economic is money. And depression, what was that big thing that we just finished our big unit on the last time that has to do with money?
The Great Depression.
The Great Depression, right? People don't have a lot of money.
Yes.
And that makes people desperate. That makes them feel like they're out of control. And when someone feels out of control because they're kind of desperate and they don't have the decisions that they want to be able to make, they look to someone who's going to bring them out of that depression.
Yes. Like,
Like Hitler. Okay, a lot of countries will change what they do. So, do you guys know what two things? Someone told me one of the things that they think they want to write for this one.
economic depression, no more money,
Okay, no more money or less money.
desperation,
Okay, desperation, which leads to
killings, murders, genocides.
true. But what was the thing, the connection to Hitler?
Oh, they look up to people. They look up to people with cool mustaches. Or both.
Rise of people like Hitler or those other dictators.
Or both.
From Italy, Japan, who will bring them out of this. They need like a savior, right? They need a savior. They need someone to bring them out of this economic depression that they're in.
What do you think?
Okay, everybody got, I only wrote one, but we had a couple others shared. Did you guys all get two?
Yeah, I got 4.
You got 4? It's 2. Okay, next one. Anti-communism.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Germany didn't like, or Italy. What? Oh, didn't like Russia. A lot of places didn't like Russia when World War II started. That's the whole
So there is one thing, I'm gonna show you guys something kind of on, if we were to look at the political
I didn't see a
scale,
blue. What the hell?
the political spectrum. Looking at the political spectrum, if this is center, we have, right here, we've got Democrats, and then we've got socialism, and then we've got communism. And on this, I'm not saying that they're like exactly that, spaced apart. And on this side, we've got more of libertarianism and conservatism, Republicans, and then we've got more extreme, we've got fascism.
Wow.
Okay, so this is important to know because communism and fascism are on opposite sides.
Yes.
They
But
really
get
don't like
along.
each other. Yeah, they don't get along. They don't like each other. So that's, something that you can say about anti-communism for one of your 2 points that you need to include.
Interesting.
Could you wait till this one, the notes part is over? If you can, wait. If not, go sign out. And because of this hatred against the other side, against communism, fascists, these dictators who are rising in Italy, in Germany, in Japan, as they're rising, they see the Soviet Union, communism, and they want to make sure that communism doesn't spread. They want to make sure that it stays put or goes away. And when you're gearing up for a possible war, that's on your radar too. You're looking at potential enemies, aren't you? Because you don't like their economic system. Okay, next one right for my paper. Appeasement.
Oh, good one. Isn't that the one where they're like, we'll give you this land if you don't do this thing?
Yeah.
That guy from Britain tried to do? Not Churchill, the other guy who was before,
Yeah.
tried to do, but honestly never worked.
So this is what appeasement was. So that Treaty of Versailles we talked about. And so keep in mind what 2 things you want to write down for appeasement. That Treaty of Versailles, it said, Germany, you cannot have this land. You cannot go in and invade more land. So Germany is like, it's kind of like what's a good example? What was the example I thought of earlier? I watched this video clip. I can't. I have to find it. I can't remember. But this funny guy. So he's pretending to be a police officer, right? And so there's a guy who's about to steal a car. And so let's pretend that the police officer is over here, and I'm the guy about to steal the car. And so the police officer is like, don't get in that car. Don't you dare get in that car. And he's like, don't touch it. Don't you touch that car. And like, they touch the car. And he's like, don't you open
Isn't
that
that
door.
one when he's like saying don't and he just keeps doing it?
Yeah. So, yeah. And so he's like, don't open that door. Don't you dare open that door. And the cop's like holding his gun at him and like, you know, trying to get him to not steal a car. And so he opens the door and he's like, don't you dare get in that car. Don't you dare put your foot in that car. And then he puts his foot in the car. It's like the whole time he's like, don't do it. Don't do it. And he does it. He's like, okay, well, don't do this. That's like literally what happened with Germany. They said, you're not allowed to do this. And so they do a little bit. They're like, okay, all right, we'll appease you. Appeasement means like we're gonna let it go just for the sake of peace. That's what it means, okay? So that's one thing you can write down. That's what appeasement means. Just letting something go, letting something happen for the sake of peace to not cause another war. So then Germany does something else. They invade somewhere else because they invaded a few places before World War II even started. World War II officially started when Germany finally invaded Poland. Not the first place that they invaded.
Didn't they just like, one of it was like Czechoslovakia?
Czechoslovakia, yeah. They were trying to get back all these Germanic people and lands that they had lost after World War I.
Yeah.
So like every time they did a little bit more like invade more land or bring more people into or have more things for their military, that was like they keep doing more and more, kind of like that guy getting in the car. And Britain, mostly Britain, but Britain and France were the ones who were just like, okay, we'll let it go. Okay, we'll let it go. Okay, we'll let it go. It's like they kept doing that.
Churchill.
And
Was Churchill?
Churchill was part of it.
I was like, I know he was right.
So that's what appeasement was. Germany kept invading and doing more and more things. And we just kind of kept letting them do it. Because we didn't want to cause a war.
Then Poland happened.
Yeah, and then Poland happened, and then it was like, okay, well, we're gonna have to fight a war because you didn't listen to me. It's like, well, why should I? You didn't do anything to me the rest of the times, right? It's like when your parent lets your sibling do something when they're not supposed to, but they let it go and they let it go and they let it go. And all of a sudden it causes this big, huge thing. It's like, well, you shouldn't have done that. You've been letting me do it the whole time. Okay, next one is militarism. We've seen this word before. Right? Where did we see that word before?
Homework.
No. We saw the beginning of World War I, right?
Yes.
Militarism is building up your army.
Yes.
Okay, that's one thing you can write down for that. Building up your army. They're increasing the troops, increasing the tanks, increasing the planes, because World War II is big into plane warfare.
Yes.
Huge aerial warfare and missiles, okay, are all over World War II.
All means of things.
Yep. So, not only was Germany doing this a lot, but other countries were doing that because they started getting tensions from other countries. So it wasn't just Germany doing this. They're the ones who really started this again. So World War II can really be blamed mostly on, Germany and Japan, because Germany was the main country that was really building up their army. Japan just wanted more resource. They weren't really wanting to build up their army. They did so because they knew that other countries weren't gonna like how they were invading other countries.
It was like naval models for naval. And they knew America had to badge there.
Yes,
Yeah,
which
Yeah. They're like, hey,
They caused the entire war.
yeah, that is something that we'll talk about when we talk about US joining the war. We'll mention that.
And then they got beat a couple of times.
Okay, this one.
one.
We've also know what this one is. These two are connected, aren't they?
No.
And these two are connected. And these two are connected.
Do you think the country that has powers invaded still hate them?
If what?
Like, so you know how Axis power they invaded other countries and stuff? Do you think they hate them? Well, I know China does because of the
Yeah,
their
oh yeah.
thing that happened, their atrocities.
There's still, especially Europe, there's a lot of, people's past with each other, there's a lot of reason to still not like each other. Yeah, and not just about the war, but for other things as well.
Oh, I have like past, genocides too.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's one genocide that happened in Ukraine. Ukraine and Jews don't get along with each other very well. Something happened in Ukraine and it was a genocide and lots of people died because of their government. And the Jewish authorities would not recognize it as a genocide. And so there's like conflict there.
Ukraine is going through so much. I feel bad for them.
Ukraine does go through a lot. So nationalism, we know what that is.
Yes, I invented the word.
Zia, do you remember what nationalism is?
Woohoo.
What's the most important thing in a nationalist person?
Woohoo.
You can hit, it's in the word.
Is a president.
The nation, right? The national government, your country, that's the most important thing. Okay? Which just inflames, so nation is the most important thing is one thing you write for that. And the other thing is it, like I said, there was connections to these other ones. It inflames all these other things and makes them bigger deals than before. Militarism wouldn't have been that bad of a thing, except for when nationalism is influencing it. Same thing with rise of fascism. One reason why they were able to rise in Italy, Japan, and Germany was because they were going off of this motto of nationalism. We have to be strong as a country. We have to be united. Strength through unity.
Yes, unite, slaughter everyone else.
And then we have one of the last things.
Rise of kingdoms. Rise of Hitler.
Rise of Hitler.
Good old Hitler.
Hitler comes to power.
No, you need to change brown.
He comes into power. Yeah, right. Because the brown one. He comes to power, and that's when a lot of these things in Germany start happening. That's when they start really building their militarism. This increase of nationalism is where they have to have appeasement because Germany is advancing. It's when they turn more fascist. It's when they violate the Treaty of Versailles. They expand themselves, so not just Japanese, but Germany expansion. They hate communism, and Hitler is the one who helped Germany get out of their depression. So really, this one is connected to all of them, right?
Well, even though Hitler did some horrible things, he did get them out of depression. He did do what he said he was going to do, even though he did the whole genocide thing.
It's true, and that's why I told you guys before. Individual people, people are complicated. One person is not 100% good or 100% evil. There's good and bad to everybody. That's because we're all humans. Humans. Okay? All right, so does anybody have any of these little points that they're missing that they need help with to find the two main points?
Easy.
Everybody's good?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm gonna leave this up for you, Red. You guys, you're going to put that in your notes. You're gonna keep that. Okay? Those are the main causes of World War II. A lot of them, as you can see, like build on each other, right? Those connections that we were talking about, how they impact each other. They impact and build on each other. Okay? All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to watch just a little bit of a video of what fighting in World War II was like. We're kind of skipping ahead so you can see just what fighting in World War II was like. Okay.
Can't see.
I know, I have to.
HDMI.
Every 6 within World War II never experienced combat.
Okay, there's it sounds really dangerous even before you get to fighting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you crazy, huh? So, okay, so if you did not finish your, timeline assignment, hopefully you're working on that a little bit in the video, but if not, that's your homework to finish that. If you're done, then you've got nothing besides your native studies stuff for those in native studies, for homework over the break.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.